Hello everyone. As usual, this is Professor Bushra Ansari talking about your subject Human Resource Management in Global Perspective. So we are almost done with most of the part of your syllabus. Just left out with a few crisp topics which we'll complete in this video, probably one more video. So we are talking about today a term which is very much a part of your life right now. We are talking about technology. Now, let me show you a scenario. Back in the year in the 90s, when maybe probably you were not even born, when an individual used to go to abroad for some job purpose, the communication pattern and the professional work pattern was, if I am supposed to communicate something with a person of my family who is working abroad, I had to write letters. And then this letter used to go international post, and then some charges were applied, and then it reached that person, and then he would reply back. So it was a process of many days. What is the scenario today? All I need to do is pick up a cell phone, dial the number, and a WhatsApp call or an emo call or any of the applications that I use for making calls, or probably the video call. So the distance is almost negligible now, except for the physical presence. So in this whole scenario, when we pick up this technology and put it up in a professional setup, see, when you talk about your professional setup, your company or particularly your HR roles, you need to take care of the interviews, you need to take care of the training needs, you need to take care of the salary generation, that is the compensation data, you need to take care of how your performance is being evaluated. So in the earlier case, it was a bit tedious and bit lengthy process because everything was manual. But now when I use technology, it has become absolutely easy for me to just compile the data and present the report. So even if it is a recruitment being done and my candidate is seated in Singapore, I need not be spending a lot of time and money and energy in calling that candidate all the way to India. I just need to schedule an online call, and it's done. Today, it's the current scenario, it's the most easy and the feasible thing to understand. Right now, we are trying to have technology and we're trying to get these concepts clear, these things understood in a better manner. So, same way when you talk about HRM and when you talk about this whole technology in HRM, there we need to know one terminology, since in the previous lecture also we were talking about more or less in terms of teams and projects. One of the aspects we need to know is your virtual organization. Now this virtual organization is most of my work, that is my HR related work, my employee related work, is done through technology, and that's where I term it as virtual. Say for example, let me explain you the concept of how a virtual organization works. If I don't have an office, I don't have a physical space, nothing. All I do is I create one website and I have an email ID, I have a phone number and all kind of business communication and everything. I do it purely through this website. I don't have an office, I don't have a setup, nothing doing. But then I'm still very much functional on the website. So my organization is moving, it has got its presence in the market, but then I don't need a physical space. That's what I'm talking about being virtual. So I can grow multiple folds being in a virtual setup as well, artificial setup as well, electronic setup as well. So when you look from organization way, I generally see this virtual organization in three forms, and that's telecommuting. Otherwise you talk about having it in say outsourcing form, or then it is like completely virtual. When I say telecommuting, I'm just giving out my part of say call process or any communication being done using technology. Whereas when I talk about getting into an outsourcing thing, I'm giving out the whole work, a certain part of my work completely given on contract basis to some another company to work. So it's like a virtual thing for me. My employees are not involved, my setup is not involved. All I do is just get the service from these people. And then it's like completely virtual. So I am really not on the physical space. Everything is online, everything is in the form of digital platform, and that's the whole thing in terms of working. So if you look at the IVR happening, if you look at the online payment happening, it's a virtual thing, but then these banks do have a physical setup. So when you look at PhonePe, everyone knows PhonePe, GPay, everyone is using these apps, but we don't find any particular office named as PhonePe and there you are using it. Company is working, a company is a separate thing, the setup and the way they are putting it up, it's in the virtual form. So when you look at the benefits or the advantages of such virtual organization, it's more like you are saving on time, saving on quantity, you're saving on additional cost, and the quality is improvised, and then there's this first hand thing happening that is directly going to the people. So if we look from this virtual organization from HRM perspective, the software used to calculate the salary. Now let's take this HR example. If, for example, you are an employee being located into a foreign country, any country for that matter of sake, but you are my employee, I have sent you there for a project. Now I need to calculate your salary because at the end of the month I am the one who's going to give you salary. But over there, sitting in another country, how do I see and understand if you have really completed all the working hours and working days or not? So I need a technological support for this, some kind of a software use, and that's where it makes it to be a virtual platform. So I put up a software, I put up some kind of system in the your setup, and then I ask you that go ahead and then punch in your attendance or punch in these things in terms of say going ahead and making the entry of your attendance. And that's all. You come up with your whole counting of the hours and everything done. So this gives a whole kind of benefit. Now sounds very good, but then there lies some difference between traditional and virtual way. When I talk about this traditional and virtual setup, there is less of relationship building in virtual setup. It's like just work basis. At the same time, whatever you feed in, see, always remember the technology, the system is only going to take what you are going to feed in. So it's like a simple thing. Whatever you input, output is going to be based on that. So if there is an error, it's going to be there. But in terms of traditional, when we are using this manual setup, it can be more of a controversial thing as well. So every way, the virtual organization or the traditional organization has got its own benefit. So this was all about how a virtual organization works and how important it is for an HRM perspective. Thank you for watching.